Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new movie, The Crow. Now I was really excited to see this movie. I was a huge fan of the original, and if I can remember correctly, I think the original came out like 94, 95-ish, like somewhere around the mid-90s, I believe. I was pretty young when that one came out, but I do remember seeing it, and I'm pretty sure something crazy happened around that time as well, like the main actor or one of like the leads in the movie ended up passing away shortly after, and that was sort of like a whole big thing, and that actually made the original even that much more special. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, The Crow is, I believe, based on a comic book. Now, I have no no knowledge of the comic book, which is kind of crazy because I'm such a comic book fan, but The Crow is one of those comic books that I did not read, so the only exposure I had was to the original film. So now, all the way fast forward now, basically roughly around 20 years later, we had this remake, sort of, I guess you could say, sort of, not really a remake, but a new interpretation of the character. And this time around, we have Bill Skarsgård, who's playing Eric, or the Crow, basically himself, or the character of the Crow, so to speak. But there was a lot of things in this movie that I don't remember from the original. Like, this one to me was almost like they treated the Crow almost more like a Ghost Rider type of character, where he sort of makes a deal in order to obtain these powers, almost like he kind of quote unquote makes a deal with the devil, so to speak, or sells his soul to the devil and whatnot. And that is something that I don't remember happening in the original, but I could be wrong. It's been forever since I've seen that one, and whatnot. But overall, I thought it was a supernatural element that I thought took you out of the movie more than the original. The original, although it had that supernatural element, it felt more grounded. And also I feel like the story was more developed, and the relationship between Eric and Shelley in the original, in the 90s, was very organic. It did not feel forced. You could actually see that they loved each other. It was a very compelling story. It was a very interesting story. I think, I'm assuming that her name was Shelley in the 90s. I can't even quite remember, but I do remember the movie, but I can't quite remember all the names of the characters in that one. But I think it was Shelley back then as well, or some other character and whatnot. But either way, in this movie, I felt like the relationship was forced. I felt absolutely no connection to any of the characters, not even the relationship between the characters. And I just feel like Eric sort of obtains these supernatural abilities just like that. I felt like there was absolutely no development, no real true explanation. It was not grounded or believable, mainly because the story itself and also the characters were not relatable. I feel like I didn't care about Shelley. I didn't even really care about Eric. I do think Bill Skarsgård did the best that he could with what he was given. I thought his performance was probably the standout of the entire movie. Danny Hudson was in this movie, who portrayed the character Vincent Roeg, and who's basically the antagonist of the movie, the bad guy, the villain. And honestly, it was the most like flat villain that I've ever seen. There was absolutely no development. There was like no real, like, to me it was, he was treated almost like how could I say, almost like Malekith in Thor the Dark World, so to speak. Like, there was really no reason or rhyme. He was just there for the sake of being a villain, and I honestly did not care about any of them. I did not think any of the performances were great, other than Bill. Like I said, I think he did the best he could with what he was given. The problem is he wasn't given a whole lot, really. There was no real development into the supernatural abilities, and you know, the relationship felt forced. It didn't feel real or organic, and honestly, I didn't even think their chemistry were good on screen. And quite frankly, if I were to put a number on The Crow, honestly, I've always had the attitude, if you can't say anything good, then don't say anything at all, so to speak. So anything below 50, I just don't number. I just say fail. And to me, this movie was absolutely a fail. I would put it on par with something, I would actually say that I would put this on par with something like Madame Web. I think Morbius was better than this, which is saying something, but I would put it in sort of that same ball field, that same playground as Morbius. I feel like it was the studio that had this character and had no idea what to do with him. I feel like this remake was only done for the sake of using the IP of The Crow. I wonder to myself, you know, a lot lately, if Hollywood is just not trying to do something new. Why are they relying so much on these old IPs? They do a remake, they try to recreate something that they've already done that's sort of a masterpiece, not necessarily a masterpiece, but something that's done really well, and then they absolutely annihilate it, destroy the property, and create something that nobody likes. And I think this is a great example of that. I think The Crow is something that, you know, we did not need, and it was poorly written, I won't say the directing was terrible. I mean, the action sequences were gory and brutal and quite creative, so I won't go as far as saying that the directing itself was bad, but I would say that the writing was bad, the story was bad. Not that the performances were bad, it's just because of the way they're all written, it was just, you didn't care about any of them, you didn't relate to any of them. You know, and honestly, I think one of the weakest characters in the movie was actually the one who was, you know, the character Shelley, who was supposed to be sort of opposite of Eric. You know, they're supposed to be two sides of the same coin. They're supposed to be able to bounce off of each other to create this cool, loving, compelling relationship. And I believe she was actually one of the weakest parts of the movie. Next to the villain, she was the next weakest part of the movie. And I thought that Eric was, you know, really the standout. And even Sophia, I thought was pretty good, which was portrayed by Josette Simon, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I thought she did a great job and whatnot, but every other character fell flat. No development in the story, no relationship, nothing relatable, and quite frankly, to me, The Crow was a big waste of time, a big waste of money, and I do not recommend you go see it. It is absolutely a fail. So let me know in the comment section below if you've seen this movie, and if you liked it. If you did like it, please tell me why. What was there about this movie that you liked? Me, I thought it was complete garbage, and it was a waste of time, and I kind of feel bad for Bill Skarsgård because I do think he's a phenomenal actor, and I think he actually shines in these types of roles. I just feel like his character was really done dirty in this one. So let me know what you think and all that good stuff. If you like this, what you see here, click that subscribe button, and until the next video, take care.